is wrathful Buddha Vajrakilaya, described by Garchen Rinpoche as the mind of great love? Can such a ferocious embodiment of enlightenment really calm the mind and tame our obstacles, both external and internal? Why is Vajrakilaya, also called Vajrakumara, considered the activity of all the Buddhas?
Come along with us now as we get to know this wrathful emanation of Vajrasattva, the embodiment of the activity of all the Buddhas. After our brief introduction, listen or chant along with the Sanskrit version of his mantra, famous for accomplishing the enlightened activities and overcoming all of our obstacles.
Before we begin, if you like this presentation, please like, subscribe and turn on notifications. Please consider supporting Buddha Weekly's mission, Spread the Dharma, on Patreon, at patreon.com/BuddhaWeekly. Vajrakilaya is the most cutting of wrathful meditational deities, a wrathful Heruka or hero emanation of glorious Vajrasattva. At the same time, he is the ultimate expression of bodhicitta and compassion and love. He is the Heruka of activity and represents the enlightened activity of all of the Buddhas. This aspect of the Buddha is the sharp weapon against the big three enemies: the demons of craving and greed, hate and hostility, and ignorance and misapprehension. His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche describes why Vajrakilaya is one of the most popular of the meditational deities.
The deity's heart essence is love and affection. The very nature of his past pledge to sentient ones is loving kindness. Each time one gives rise to it, even if one is only focused on a tiny insect, it becomes a cause for accomplishing the supreme siddhi. When one repeatedly cultivates an actual feeling of love and affection, that itself is the deity's mind. That is the accomplishment of the Yi-Dan. On this basis, immeasurable great love can arise.
If immeasurable love is the mission, why then does he appear so wrathful and active? Vajrakilaya is the embodiment of the activity of all the Buddhas, yet he appears almost monstrous and furious, complete with fangs, 3 faces, 6 arms, 4 legs and vast wings. He appears wrathful to signal to the adversaries of enlightenment that he won't take no for an answer. He is the compassionate, but forceful compassionate activity of enlightenment.
The wrath or anger, in the case of all Herukas, and especially here with the most wrathful of all the Herukas, Vajrakilaya, is directed powerfully at the 3 poisons in service of all sentient beings. It is, as Garchen Rinpoche explained, a force of love. A single thrust with his 3-point ferba, or kila, cuts all the illusions, hatred, and grasping.
The metaphorical concept is that power and focused wrath is required to overcome the terrible grasping poisons of greed, hostility, and ignorance. In most cases, rational, peaceful contemplative methods tend to fail against the irresistible forces of these attachments and desires in samsara, at least in the short term, and certainly in our modern age full of temptations and greed. Forceful enlightened activity can more quickly overcome these forces.
His appearance also visually informs the meditator of his powers to overcome the delusions: Heruka wings, wisdom flames, 3 faces, blue representing enlightened mind, red representing enlightened speech, and white representing the enlightened body of the Buddha. 6 arms representing the 6 paramitas, with feet stomping on the demons of obstacles to our realizations. How powerful is that? Yet, most iconic is the kila, or purba, the sharp weapon that cuts all the demons of anger, hate, delusion, ignorance, and attachment or greed.
So important are these 4 activities and this particular emanation of Buddha, that for the Sakya tradition, Vajrakilaya has always been the main Yidam deity. His Holiness the Sakya Tree Chen explains why Vajrakilaya is so important. He is the main Yidam deity in the Sakya tradition.
Vajrakilaya's magnitude of wisdom, extensive benevolence, and efficaciousness, ability, and so forth are why this has been the main deity practice of our hereditary tradition. Not only that, no matter what appears as the so-called enemy, hindrances and obstacles, there is no better approach than Vajrakilaya.
The reason for Vajrakilaya's effectiveness against obstacles is that he embodies the activities of all the Buddhas: peace, power, wrath, and prosperity. Another reason is that many miracles are associated with his practice in the early histories of Buddhism. Guru Rinpoche, the Great Lotus-born, brought the practices from India. Garchen Rinpoche explained,
It is said that when Guru Rinpoche left India for Tibet, 2 men were needed to bear the load of the palm leaf volumes of Vajrakila literature alone. Those writings came to symbolize Guru Rinpoche's subjugation of all obstructive forces. The Vajrakila literature is like the wish-granting tree, as it allows one to accomplish the common and supreme, whatever one could desire.
Another enlightened being, the great yogi Nye She Sogyal, attained the common and supreme siddhis with Vajrakilaya practices. Her liberation story documents numerous miracles attributed to her, such as reviving the corpse of a young man and having a spring emerge from the spot where she had thrust her killer, or porba, into stone. Only you, your own particular needs and afflictions, and your teacher's guidance, will be the guide in choosing a particular meditational yidam, but chances are, in these difficult, modern times, a yidam like Vajrakilaya can be most powerful and useful. Ultimately, all yidams are expressions of one Buddha mind, body, speech. The attainments are the same, only the methods vary. His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche explains this in his amazing practice manual on Vajrakilaya.
Whichever deity one practices, his or her power derives exclusively from bodhicitta. So it is with the deity Vajrakila. If one practices this yidam from among all the other yidams, one can attain Buddhahood in a single lifetime. Those who wish to accomplish this deity must give rise to the mindset on supreme enlightenment and must sustain it until the rank of manifest, complete Buddhahood has been attained.
Most iconic of his practice is the symbolic weapon porba, or killer in Sanskrit. This is not only part of his name, Vajrakila literally means diamond peg, it also represents all of his activities. His other name is Vajrakumara, which means diamond youth. In most representations and visualizations of this great deity, 2 of his hands hold a porba weapon between them. This is the sharp weapon against the 3 poisons that trap us in samsara, with the 3-sided blade representing the ability to cut all 3 together in one powerful thrust. The 3 edges of the blade represent the 3 poisons to be cut: anger, greed and delusions, and also represent the 3 remedies, the 3 worlds, and the 3 purifications. The killer or porba itself is considered a sacred object.
Since Vajrakilaya practice is a highest yoga practice, self-generated meditation requires permission and empowerment of a teacher, although you can certainly create the karmic causes and links for future empowerment by honoring this active form of compassion with offerings and mantras. His mantra is publicly available. The mantra is chanted and offered by various teachers online, and does not require permission. Making offerings and watching or participating in pujas is generally fine, but the sadhana and self-generation and completion practices require permission of a teacher, since training is definitely required.
There are many notable teachers of the Vajrakilaya practices, including His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche, His Holiness Sokya Trichen, Orgyen Togil Rinpoche, and many others. He is among the most important of deities in the Nyingma, Drikung Kagyu, Sokya and other traditions. Many of the great masters of Tibet, such as Guru Rinpoche, Mila Repa, Longchenpa, Gerson Kopa, and Dujorn Rinpoche, have composed texts on the practice of Vajrakilaya. Honoring Vajrakilaya with praises, offerings, mantras, and prayers can be done by anyone, regardless of their level of spiritual development. However, it is important to receive the proper empowerment from a qualified teacher before attempting any of the Vajrakilaya sadhanas. Generally, the mantras are widely distributed everywhere, but the main prohibition is against self-generation, visualizing the self as the deity, or practicing the sadhanas. There are often public Vajrakilaya pujas which anyone can attend. Chant along with Hrishikesh Sonar as he chants this lovely mantra in Sanskrit.
Om Vajrakilaya Sarva Vignam Vamhampe. 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 Om Vajrakilaya वज्रकीलिकीलाय सर्वविघ्नं वं हुम्पे ॐ 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 वज्रकीलिकीलाय सर्वविघ्नं वं हुं पे 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 ॐ वज्रकीलिकीलाय सर्वविघ्नं वं हुम्पे 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 ॐ ॐ वज्रकीलिकीलाय सर्वविघ्नं वं हुम्पे 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 ॐ ॐ वज्रकीलिकीलाय सर्वविघ्नं वं हुम्पे 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 ॐ वज्रकीलिकीलाय सर्वविघ्नं वं हुम्पे
If you enjoyed this presentation, please like and subscribe. Please visit our popular Dharma website at buddhaweekly.com with its large library of free Buddhist features, articles, videos, podcasts, covering all traditions of Buddhism. Buddha Weekly, helping to spread the Dharma. Thank you.